Hello and welcome to the Anxious Knitter podcast. My name is Joy, and I am the Anxious Knitter. I'm so anxious that I've lost hours and hours of sleep over the years thinking about every dumb thing I've ever said since childhood. So embarrassing. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here for episode 4. Like I said, my name is Joy, and I'm coming to you from Waterloo, Ontario, Canada, where I live with my husband Luke and our dog Opie. This is a podcast mostly about knitting, but occasionally about crochet, sewing, and whatever else catches my fancy at the moment. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I'm so grateful. It means more to me than I can say. And if you are just stumbling on the podcast for the first time, I hope you find something that you like, and if you do, hit subscribe, and if you don't, that's totally cool. There are about 1 million knitting podcasts on the internet. I know. I've been trying to watch every single one of them. So yeah. So great to see you guys again. It's been a week and a half. I hope you guys have had a really good time doing cool stuff. Hope you had a great Valentine's Day if you celebrate it, whether you celebrate it with a significant other or with your friends or with your dog or your cat or yourself or whatever. Personally, I think Valentine's Day should just be about doing something that you love. That sounds nice, doesn't it? I did some stuff that I loved. It was yesterday, right? Yes, it was yesterday. Oh, gosh. All right. Already we're off to that kind of start. Yeah. So, I've got quite a few things to talk about today. I didn't think that I would, in all honesty, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But I guess the first segment of this podcast is my DWEEB story of the week. So, yeah. Let's get ready for the DWEEB story of the week. Do you guys like the hands? I don't know. I'm going to keep doing it because I think it's hilarious. Anyway, so my DWEEB story of the week actually has to do with knitting this time. It's not just general dweebiness. So, if you will recall from the last episode, if you watched it, I was working on a sock, and it was my February sock. And I made quite a lot of progress on it. I had gotten all the way through the leg. I had put in the heel. Sorry if you heard Opie growling. You could hear the baby across the hall. So I put in the heel, and I'd gotten 15, 20 rows into the foot. And I decided to take a break because I've been motoring through it. So I put it in my project bag. I did not zip up the project bag. I put the project bag underneath my coffee table where I usually store it, but I did not put it under Opie. Oh wow. Opie, chill, bro. Yeah, I know. But I did not put it far enough under the table, so I got up and I went to go get a snack, and like an idiot, my toe caught on the needle, like the cable, not the actual needle, otherwise I'd be in excruciating pain. It caught on the cable of the magic loop, and I tripped and pulled the needle right out. Just all the stitches live. And I was like, no, except I was actually I was saying not no. I was saying something else that I won't say on the podcast right now. And I tried to pick up the stitches, but it's every time I got a stitch on the needle, the next one was falling down. And it was so frustrating. I would have spent hours trying to pick up these stitches and get them in the right place, and it would have looked wonky. So in the end, I ended up ripping out almost the entire sock. Oh, it was horrible. Actually, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was a lot of knitting that I had to rip out, but in the end, it turned out the sock looks better than it did before. But let this be a lesson to all of you knitters out there. Zip up your project bags, or else you too may find that you have pulled your needle out of your knitting with your stupid big toe. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little bit of dweebiness from my week. So why don't we get into the actual knitting, eh? Yeah? Alright. So, like I said, I was working on the sock, and I have a half object. Oh my god, I need to not do that ever again. Okay. Yeah, so I finished the first sock, and I like it. I'm pretty pleased with it. I changed a few things the second time around. I did not do the twisted rib because when I tried the sock on, when I had, it was still on the needles and I hadn't destroyed it, I did not like the way it actually looked when it had stretched out, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Oh well, I'm not going back. Well, I did end up having to go back, so I just did 2x2. Regular 2x2 rib. And I don't know if it was my gauge that changed or what, but this part turned out so much better than it did on the last one. I don't know if you remember, but it was like, they were almost like little like weird zigzaggy lines. So I don't know if it's like my gauge like corrected itself the second time around or what, but it actually is speckled, and I really, really like how that thick green section is basically the entire heel. I was like, oh, that's so awesome. And I was like, ooh, can I get it so that it's also the toe? Nope, I couldn't, but that's okay. Yeah, so these are my February socks for the Grocery Girls Sock Bash on their Ravelry group. And it's February because it kind of reminds me of the colors of Langdon Hall. And I will talk about Langdon Hall later in my life, etc. And I have like a little photo slideshow for you guys. Yeah, so I just cast on the second one. I probably could have gotten this done much sooner, like both socks. And I'm going to tell you why I didn't. I messed up my hands this week. It's sort of a combination, I think, of that the things that I like doing pretty much all require the use of my hands in not necessarily ergonomic positions. And because I am, in a way, still technically on holiday, like from my main job, I've had lots of free time, as I've said. And so I've had a lot of time to knit. I've had a lot of time to do other stuff, just hang out on the computer, whatever. And I started having pains in my hands. I was trying to be proactive. I was stretching. I was doing like, carpal tunnel stretches, and I was icing my hands when it started getting kind of iffy, but it was really only happening when I was working on the socks. So I think it was like the tighter gauge, the smaller needle. I don't know exactly, but yeah, I had to take a break. I did not actually knit almost at all for the entirety of Saturday and Sunday, and most of Monday, because I wanted to kind of give my hands a rest. It's driving me nuts, I will tell you that right now. I was like, but there's so many things I could be working on. And yeah, I was like, I have to do this for like my hand health. And I also, about 10 years ago, so when I was like 16, 17, I think it was 17, so just about 10 years ago, I broke my left index finger at work at the drugstore. And I didn't actually break it. What ended up happening was I had hooked my finger. I was leaving the back room, and it had like not like a doorknob, right? It had like a handle, and I was in a rush, and I pulled it shut, and I went to leave, but my finger had still been caught around the handle, and I like yanked my finger, and I messed up my tendons. So, hold on. Looks like I'm doing Beyonce. Okay. So you can kind of see it. It's still a little bit crooked. I can like straighten it out, but like I have to think about it. And if it's gonna rain, it's like I can tell it's gonna rain because my finger hurts. And so I have to be careful sometimes about overusing it, because I type predominantly with my left index finger, which is weird. It's like I type almost Almina, but if you look at my hands while I'm typing, I'm mostly using my left index finger. And then I play guitar, and I knit, and whatever. So I have to be careful that I don't strain this finger, right? It can get really painful. So again, this episode is going to be a huge PSA for how to not be a dweeb and how to not ruin your hands, which is take breaks, stretch your hands, be careful, okay? But yeah, so guys, I didn't even do I just realized I didn't say finished objects. Now I did. There you go. It's delayed. Anyway, if you've been anywhere near my Instagram, I've posted quite a few pictures of this project as it's been in progress. But I finished my brioche shawl, my squishy shawl by Mina Philipp. Look at it! Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it so much, okay? It is so pretty. I love these colors. I love the size. I did just about 31 repeats, and then I got nervous and I was like, I don't know if I have enough to keep going, so I'm just gonna stop here. It seemed like it was a decent size and it blocked out bigger, and I barely blocked this. Okay, like I really just gently pinned out the corners, but I love it so much. I got it done in time to wear to Langdon Hall for our early Valentine's Day. And it was exactly what I wanted it to be. It's very warm, it's very soft, it's very squishy. I used both colors. So here's the other side. It's lichen and lace in her 80/20 merino sock, and the colors, so the main color was wildflowers and the contrasting color was aqua haze, which I don't think she offers anymore, I don't know if it's one person. Anyway, I don't think that it's a color that's offered anymore because it's not on the website or I couldn't even find it. It's not on Ravelry anywhere, so I don't know, or if maybe it's new, but I haven't seen any more of it at my local yarn shop. So yeah, this was such a good first brioche project. I would definitely recommend this if you want to try brioche and you don't want to do a cowl, or you don't. Oh, that is my husband. I was having technical difficulties and then was panic texting him, and not he can do anything about it from Cambridge, Ontario. Anyway, yeah. If you are afraid of brioche, I get it. Basically to the end, it was still like diffusing a bomb. But you do kind of get into the rhythm of it, and this is really nice because you're not just making a rectangle, you're not just making a tube. That being said, I do want to make a two-color brioche cowl, but you're still making an interesting shape. You're learning how to do an increase and a decrease. So it's a really great foundation, I think, for two-color brioche. And like I said before, it is not intuitive to me, and I would continue to say that, but I really enjoyed the technique. I really love the result, and I feel like I need to always have something brioche on the needles, otherwise I'll forget how to do it and have to relearn it every single time. So I am already thinking about the next thing, but yeah. So again, this is Le Moelleux, the squishy, from Mina Philipp, the knitting expat. I think she changed her thing to the knitting expat designs. So you can probably just type knitting expat into patterns and it'll come up. But yeah, here's a close-up of the right side. And a close-up of the wrong side. And once you block it, it really does bring out the two colors. Because I was a little worried, I'm like, oh, you can barely even see the two colors, but once you've soaked it and pinned it, then you can definitely see it. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with it. Also, if you guys want to see some, like, sweet brioche, though, go check out Lorelei's podcast, Knits and Beads. She just finished her Excuse Me Shawl, which I believe is a Stephen West pattern, and when she records that, you're gonna want to watch it, because it's beautiful. Yeah. So that's my second finished object, and I'm very happy with it. I wear it around the house, too, because I just love it so much. Yeah, so that actually I was almost like totally monogamous on for a couple days there because I really, really, really wanted to get it finished, and I did. And I will say that my hand issues were not really extending to that project because I don't know if it's because it was on bigger needles and a looser gauge, so like I was not getting like the weird zings in my hand. That sounds so bad. Oh, please don't like judge me. But, yeah. Anyway, really glad to have that. So I guess that takes us on to works in progress. Oh, I'm really worried that that's not going to even fit. Whatever. I've got a few works in progress to show you. So this is not exciting. I'm not going to talk about it for very long. But I did just cast on my second February sock. It's a little pencil mustache. Yeah. I just did that last night while we were watching Jessica Jones. But I didn't want to like push it. So. Oh, and if I forgot to mention the yarn I'm using, it's a Regia Arne and Carlos yarn. I did completely rewind it, so after I yanked out my first sock. So yeah, it's just a commercial yarn. I haven't done any like fancy dancy socks yet with fancy dancy yarns. The day is coming, I'm sure, but because I always say, every time in my life I've ever said that I will not jump on a trend of some kind, like overalls or velvet or I don't even know, whatever else. I always get into it every time. And I know, I'm pretty sure I said in the first or second podcast that I cannot understand, like, for myself, spending the amount of money for, like, a hand-dyed yarn to use for something for my feet. But the day is coming. I can tell you that right now. That's just who I am. But anyway, I actually have a couple crochet things to show you. So I wasn't going to show you my granny stripe blanket because I'd only put 2 rows on, but I just wanted to show you how gorgeous that Wildflowers yarn has crocheted. So it's, the top one here. But is that not so pretty? Like, I want a whole blanket crocheted out of just the Wildflowers yarn because I think it's just stunning. Yeah. It's my sash, my crochet sash. So fashion. Oop, I'm gonna have to cough. 1 sec. Okay, yeah, I'm okay. Today, I'm gonna take a drink, so, actually I'm gonna show you the mug first. Today I'm using my Animal Kingdom mug, which is the Starbucks You Are Here collection. Again, my parents brought back for us from their trip. And I am not drinking tea. I am drinking a coffee and banana smoothie, which is not as tasty as it sounds, unfortunately. I was really hoping that it was going to be delicious and it would change my life, but it doesn't change my life. But I need coffee. And I need to not have lipstick on my teeth. Whoa. Bad planning though, Joy. Yeah, so that's my first crochet project. I'm gonna wait for my dog to stop being an idiot. Okay. So I started another crochet blanket because I knew that I would not be able to work very much on my main granny stripe blanket because I don't like do the minis thing yet. But I caught the crochet bug again. I was like, oh yeah, I love doing this. So I decided to start a baby blanket for, not me, for my sister-in-law, Luke's sister, who is having her second baby. I had made a crochet granny square blanket for her first child, her son, my nephew. So I thought, oh, I should make a blanket for the second one. Similar color scheme, but this one's a granny stripe and not a granny square. So I have made quite a bit of progress on this. So as you can see, it's just like white, pale yellow, and like a minty color. And I'm just doing the whole thing in this color, and then I'm gonna do a border around it in a coordinate like mint green. Because they're not finding out the baby's gender, so I figured this would be fine for both. And it's just made out of, I bought this like gigantic thing of loops and threads, snuggly wuggly big. And you get, sorry if you can hear the crunkling sound. Crunkling. That's a new one. 947 yards, 866 meters, 100% acrylic. Yeah. Does it have a colorway? Does it say? Pixie prints. That's really cute. I didn't know that. But it's machine washable and dryable. I mean, they live out in the country. They probably don't like need anything like it's gonna be super precious, and I don't want to like you can forget. You have 2 kids. You're not gonna remember that. Oh, this needs to be hand washed and dried because it's made out of this special wool. No, it's a baby. Like, let's not be too precious here. So yeah. I got a lot done on this because of my hand thing, and I found that the crocheting was much easier on my wrists and my hands. So yeah, it's nice to just it's nice to do in the evenings when I don't want to be thinking. And I have to say that I just love how when you make a mistake in crochet and you have to rip back, it is like not even a commitment issue. Like, who cares? Because, or like you realize you've like dropped a few stitches, it doesn't matter. It's not going to affect your whole work. I have like made scarves and stuff, like crochet scarves and stuff, and I'm like, oh no, I don't like how that's looking or whatever, and I just like, no regrets, just rip it out. I love that. And I also love with crochet how you can use the same hook for 20 different projects because it's not actually attached to the work. And the other thing actually I wanted to say about crochet, for me, I don't know if this is true for other people, but I don't know what happened to the hook for the blanket, but I'll show you the one that I'm using for the other one because it's the same type. I'm pretty sure it's the same brand, Prime, Prym, I don't know. So just like your most like basic crochet hooks. And the thing that I find interesting is that I have used the gamut of like cheap crochet hooks. I've done bamboo, I've done the cheapest plastic, I've done these old metal ones, new metal ones, whatever. And it doesn't make a difference to me. Like, I like that I don't feel like I need to go and buy an expensive crochet hook. Like, maybe it would change my life, but I've never had a problem using, like, basic crochet hooks. I've never felt the need to get ones with, like, squishy grips or anything like that. But with knitting, I cannot use a cheap needle anymore. Hayas are not, like, expensive, like, whatever, but they are definitely better quality than the crappy is it like the Michaels brand ones that I was using when I first started, where the cable is just unendingly frustrating. And if you're wondering, I use a 3.5 millimeter hook, don't know the letters, for my my scrappy granny stripe blanket, and a 4 millimeter for the baby blanket. Kind of wish I had gone up to a 4.5, but it's gonna be fine. It's great. I like the texture anyway. And can I just say that when I was looking through my crochet hooks, which I have mentioned in the past are mostly from Luke's grandmother, like, I actually was, like, looking at I was reading the numbers, and a few of them are, like, made in the USA, 15 cents. 15 cents for that hook. Amazing. They're not 15 cents now. Okay. I have one more whip, and that is, I'm gonna bend down here. Sorry, you're gonna see the top of my head because I forgot to bring it out like a dingus. I started a new shawl, and I know I was going back and forth between the Asunder by Lisa Mutch and the Pure Joy by Joji Locatelli, and I ended up going for the Asunder shawl because of reasons. So again, I've been going easy. So I'm only on the first. I was curling. How am I gonna show this to you? Okay. I just want to show you the color. Okay. So, I forgot the ball bands. Oh, darn it. Anyway. So, I ended up going with the Asunder because this is a northbound knitting yarn, so I thought that was kind of fitting in the end. There goes my dog again. In the Verena colorway, I think. I know I'm like, ooh, I don't know, is that what it's called? Every single time, but it's because the writing was a little bit messy, but it's like this really nice tonal gray with like chartreuse speckles and black speckles, and I think it's going to look really, really cool. And, Opie! I'm using a 45 millimeter needle, 4.5 millimeter needle. And the second color is this, or will be this, which is Sweet Georgia in their Tough Love sock in the Rogue colorway. And, like, can I just tell you, I loved it in the skein, but I really love it in the cake. I think it's just so pretty. And, yeah. And again, I hand wind my yarn currently because I don't have a Swift and ball winder. So there was a little bit funny looking, but yeah. So I'm really, really enjoying this. I love garter stitch. I really do. I have absolutely no issues with doing unending amounts of garter stitch. Oop. Did you see that? I just almost smacked you guys in the face with a needle. Rude though. Yeah, so I'm on like the, what is it? Like almost 30th repeat of the first color. Then I'll be starting the drop stitch pattern, which I'm really excited about because I really like the look of it. And I think the colors are just going to look so good, and it's going to be gigantic, and I love a gigantic shawl, let me tell you. Like, they just seem to get bigger and bigger and bigger with everyone that I make. I didn't swatch or anything like that because honestly I don't care. And I'm just using my Hiya interchangeables, which I treated myself to like October or something. I love them. Did you hear that? I love them. Although I feel like I'm like digressing like crazy today. I'm already at 30 minutes. Although I was noticing towards the end of my Brio shawl that I was like getting like this like rough thing. I was like, uh-oh. Well, it's because they had started to come undone. Wow. Can you imagine how devastating that would have been? Oh, man. Oh, I forgot to tell you with the Brio shawl. See, again, all over the place. But with the Brio shawl, I had put in a bajillion lifelines, right? And then I was binding off. I was like the last 6 stitches of the bind off, and I dropped a stitch. And I was like, are you for real right now? I fixed it. It was fine. But I was like, I didn't make a single major error in the entire reknit of that thing until the end. Anyway, yeah. So this is the Asunder shawl by Lisa Mutch, and I'm really excited. I'm hoping, by the next time I'll have a bit more progress so you can see how the 2 colors play together. Yeah, so that is all of my works in progress. I have some more plans for casting some stuff on, but I didn't cast it on yet. So, I guess that takes us right along into works in... Nope. So I guess that takes us right along to stuff I bought for knitting. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm such a dingus. I can't even. Alright, so, I bought 2 patterns this week, which I'm very excited about. I bought the Homestead shawl by Melody of Mandarines, and if you do not follow the Mandarines podcast, go and do that. She is living like the most perfectly aesthetic knitter's life. So jealous. In my head, that's how I live. In reality, that is not how I live. It's a gorgeous Aran white shawl, though, and I'm excited to start it, but I do not have any yarn for it because I don't have any. It calls for like almost 1,000 yards of Aran white yarn, so like it's gonna be an investment. But I've been enjoying seeing people, on Instagram starting it in different colors, and Mandarine's or Melody's version is obviously stunning. And I'm really excited about it because of the lateral braid technique, which I've never done before, but I think it looks absolutely stunning. So I bought that pattern, and then I also bought the Bumblebee shawl, which I can't remember off the top of my head. So I'm just going to really quickly look it up because I want to get it right. Right. It's the Bumblebee shawl by Verena Cohrs. I've been waiting for this shawl to go, for the pattern to go on sale, because for a number of months after the release, it was, you could only get it if you bought one of the Sweet Sparrow Yarns kits for it, which, I mean, I would have loved that. Her yarns are gorgeous, but I just couldn't justify the price at the time and the shipping from the States and stuff like that, so I thought, I'll just wait. Finally came out, and she had a promotion, and it was 28% off, and obviously I jumped right on that. So I don't have any yarn for that either, but I've been planning. I've been looking around and making plans for that. And then I bought yarn. Yay! Yeah, no, I'm so excited about it. Okay, I have been daydreaming about the one skein. I'll show you that one last. I did buy them specifically to use together. This is what I'm gonna make my pure joy out of, okay? Sorry if you can hear me like flipping around with the things. They're both from the dyer Indigo Dragonfly. Now I think, if I recall correctly, I think she has a Canadian like supplier and an American supplier. But either way, I've used her yarn several times before. I used it for my Mustard Sea shawl or my Crimson Peak shawl. And so the first one I bought is called Dallectable, Yellow Dalek, from Doctor Who, and I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. So it's this gorgeous mustard yellow, like tonal, with some speckly stuff going on. Look at it. It's from her Geek Club yarns, which I love them. Okay. She does some of the funnest, most fun yarns and like names. Like my Mustard Sea shawl was a Firefly one. It was Simon's Pretty Vest. The one, I did buy one from her that wasn't Geek Club. It was just one of her regular ones, but it was limited edition. I think it was called Postcards from the Fridge. And yeah, so here's, there we go. Here's the tag. It is her merino nylon sock, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 390 yards, 100 grams. Gorgeous tonal. Now, okay, before I go on to the next one, my local yarn shop, Shall We Knit, has a great customer appreciation program. I don't know if other yarn shops do this. The other one that we have kind of nearby doesn't. But if you spend $10 or more on regular priced yarn or needles, you get 10% of that amount put on a card, and you can save it up for as long as you want, and then you can buy stuff with the money that you save up. And if you're going in there and you're especially buying hand-dyed yarns and fingering weight yarns or whatever, those can get expensive. So that money racks up pretty quickly. So that's why I was able to buy both the skeins that I got, because basically one, I had almost $40 saved up on my card. So anyway, the second one I got is this one, and I saw this when they first got it in, and I was daydreaming about it. I wanted it so bad, but I couldn't justify it because it is another Geek Club yarn. Oh, there's 2 tags on here. Interesting. Okay, anyway, sorry. Which is her merino silk 4-ply sock. 50% superwash merino, 50% silk, 430 yards, 100 grams. And it's the double-deckered Blade Runner. Now, I've never seen Blade Runner, but I know Luke likes Blade Runner. So he actually really liked this one too. So yeah, it's just, oh my gosh, it is so delightful and so soft. Okay, but I mean, it's an expensive yarn because it's got the silk content, but I basically was able to get it for free with my customer appreciation card, and it was the best. But look at these two together, right? I think they're gonna make a really, really pretty Pure Joy, because I just think it'll be really nice and subtle. So I'm gonna use this for the little eyelet stripes and that band at the bottom, because I think you use less of that color and I have more of this one. So this will be the wedges going down. Oh God, look at them. I couldn't believe it. I was walking around and I was pulling out different colors to try and match with this one. And the thing is, I'm not a huge purple person, but I like it as a complementing color. It's not the main color. And then I just found that it got lost if I picked out any purples or any of the teals. But if I used the yellow, they really seemed to play nicely together. So I'm very, very, very excited about this. But I'm not casting it on or anything until I finish the Asunder shawl. But yeah, I was looking for it as soon as I bought it. I was I can't wait to show everybody these yarns because they're so gorgeous. Yeah, so that's it for stuff I bought for knitting, which means we are done the knitting related, yarny related part of the podcast. So if that's all you came for, that's cool. I will see you next time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And if you want to stick around, because I'm going to talk about my life, etc. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. So the first thing I want to talk about is Langton Hall, obviously, because I've been sprinkling in mentions of it. I'm going to put the photos at the very end of the podcast, so you don't have to sit through the photos if you don't want to, but, okay. if you don't know what Langdon Hall is, it is a like luxury hotel, restaurant, spa in Cambridge. And it's like a big, beautiful manor house. And it's as close to like British like tradition as you can get around here, I would say. Luke and I have been 3 times together now. We went for Valentine's Day last year, Valentine's Day this year, and Mother's. We took both of our mums last year. I've been 1 other time. So I've been 4 times. And it's a high tea experience that we went for. You can go for like a regular, just like lunch or dinner, but we did their high tea. So you go in, you get seated in this beautiful like atrium with all the windows. You can see the grounds through the windows, and you get a choice of like a beautiful tea. And although they changed their tea selection, I wouldn't say it's as good as it was before. Maybe, I mean, that's subjective. So maybe other people are like way happier with this tea selection, but I've really loved their old tea selection. And we went for their winter menu. So you get like one of those like little like you know, those like tiered trays, and you get 2 scones. So we got a pumpkin scone and a buttermilk scone. And then you get your like savory dishes. So it comes with like 4 little like I don't know what you'd call it. Like they're little like sandwich type things, but they're like really like fancy and rich. And then you get 4 little desserts. The sandwiches were the best part of the whole thing. They were so good. Oh, there goes Opie. Okay. Yeah, and like it's a really, really lovely experience. Everyone dresses up, and we had a beautiful day. Like last year it was blizzarding when we went. This time it was like above freezing, which was amazing. Yeah, so it was really nice and romantic, and it was good to go, I think, before Valentine's Day, because it's really hard to get in on Valentine's Day. And we're not huge Valentine's Day people in general. Like, we don't buy Valentine's Day gifts or anything like that. We'd rather go for an experience. Like, in the past, we've done, you know, like a dinner at our favorite sushi place, but we also did Medieval Times once, which was so much fun. Would not recommend going during Canadian winter, though, just because it's very finicky, the timing. But, no, we're not talking about Medieval Times. We're talking about Langdon Hall. Yeah, so it was really nice. And then after it was done, like, they don't rush you out of there either, because they have specific times for high tea. You can't just show up whenever. So like they don't really rush you out the door for the next one. And after we left, we walked around the grounds and took photos and stuff like that. And just in case you're wondering, when you see the photos, I take photos with a Nikon hold on. I actually have it right here. It is, okay, yeah. It's the Nikon D7000 with a 35mm lens. I wanted to take video, but I felt like a weirdo being the only one with a camera out at this fancy, like, restaurant. But yeah, this is my camera. I got it from Luke's cousin for a really sweet deal. The lens was already mine. I was using it on my other camera, but just in case you like photography and you were wondering. Yeah, so that was really lovely. And then, we also went, that was when we went to the yarn store. So we went to the yarn store after Langdon Hall. So it was a wonderful Valentine's celebration. It was early, but all the better. It means I got my yarn sooner. Yeah, so then the other thing that was sort of exciting that happened was I finished the 4th draft of my novel. Yay! So, yeah, if you haven't seen the first episode, which I think is the only one where I talked about my writing, is I am an aspiring author. I've written probably like 9 first drafts, but I have an issue with finishing things, which is part of the anxiety, but I won't go into that unless you want me to in a future episode. I've been working on this particular book since 2013. It's had a very interesting journey. It started out as a National Novel Writing Month book NaNoWriMo. If you don't know what that is, every year NaNoWriMo, you can sign up and whatever, and the goal is to write a 50,000 word first draft in the month of November. And I have been doing that since 2008, and I've lost 3 times. And I've actually done it multiple times a few years. I think I've done it like 11 times now. But this one, I wrote it, I loved it, and then I read it back and hated it, and it was not what I had wanted, and so I completely rewrote it. It was still not what I wanted. I completely rewrote it again, ironically using more material from my first crappy draft than from like my second draft. And so it has had a complete overhaul, but this time it actually feels like the book that I wanted it to be. And it is a young adult novel. It's a ghost story. It's about a missing persons case. It's about poltergeists. I don't know. It's about romance. Unfulfilled romance, I guess. The romance is not really the main part of it, though, if you're not huge into that. But yeah, so I finished the 4th draft. I had been putting off the last 3 chapters for actually months, thinking that it was going to be this huge endeavor to try and finish it the way I wanted it to, and then I sat down to do it last week, and it took about 2 hours. So, just goes to show, just sit down and do the thing. Just do the thing. So I did the thing, and I finished it. So now I'm going to be printing it and sending it to a few people to read and critique, and once I've gotten all the feedback and worked the feedback into the draft, I think it may be ready to be queried to agents, which is scary and awesome. So yeah, I was very excited about that. I was very proud of finally finishing this draft and knowing that I liked it. I had read it out loud to Luke as I was writing it, and he loved it. I know he's kind of biased, but he did give me some like really, sincere feedback. So that was really nice. Yeah, so the last thing I want to talk about before I send you off is podcasts. So on Instagram, someone started following me from the podcast, Heather Luana, and she recommended some true crime podcasts to me because, as y'all know, I love a good true crime podcast. And like, there were so many recs, so I'm gonna have to work through those. But I started listening to Twisted Philly, which she said I would get a kick out of, and she was correct. I've listened to the first 2 episodes, and I love it. I love that they're not super long. I love this woman's like sense of humor. I love that she I find it hilarious when people swear, personally, and she cusses, and I love it. But it's definitely right up my alley, and I'm really looking forward to listening to some more of those this week. So thank you, Heather Luana, for that recommendation. I really appreciated it. This isn't a podcast, but I've been hearing about the Riverdale show on Netflix that's based on like the Archie characters, and I had mostly been hearing about it from Candace from Pinfeathers Purls, and she said like it's a train wreck, but like you somehow have to keep watching. That is an accurate assessment. It's awful. It's awful. But I have to know what happens, and I hate that. I mean, I kind of love it, but I hate it. And it's like, the reason I have to know what happens is because there's a murder mystery. That's literally the only reason. The other stuff I really don't care that much about. But it's a little bit heavy-handed with the morals. It's like the script feels like they just took a bunch of like teen like social justice tweets and then made them into a script. I understand what they're trying to do, I think. Like, I'm hoping like they're being sincere about it, but it's a little much. It's a little much. A little preachy. And like, one of the things, like, I know in, like, book writing, they always say, especially with young adult, is don't, and in children's literatures, don't preach, right? Like, have a message, have something to say, but, like, don't preach to your readers, because they will resent it. And I think that's true of television, too. So, yeah, they need to, like, back off a little bit, but, I mean, whatever, it's entertaining. It's not, like, you're not gonna watch it and, like, learn anything or have your life changed. Maybe you will. Maybe, like, you really love it. That's cool. I don't really love it, but I am gonna keep watching it. I mean, I don't think that there is anything else I wanted to talk about. So, on that note, I'll say all my farewells now, and then I'll leave you with the slideshow. So, if you would like to find me on social media, I am dabblejoy on Ravelry, and if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, I am Rhineland Story, and of course I will always put that along the bottom and in the info box, because I know I would not be able to remember it. I'm like that. So yeah, I'd love to see you on Instagram and Ravelry, so feel free and don't be afraid to just, add me up. I'm more than happy to follow back. So yeah, I hope you guys all have a great week, great weekend, happy knitting, happy living, and I'll see you next time. Over and out.